Another cop has been exposed for having white power activist ties, this time in a state where we are seeing a resurgence of white power activism, Idaho. My name is Brittany Page. This is the Page Perspective. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please remember to like and subscribe. I've seen a few comments. People are saying, hey, where's the super chat button? I want to support you. I'm so close to monetization. I'm so close. If you keep watching, if you keep liking, if you subscribe, I will get there in no time and you will see that button. Now, this story is really personal to me, having grown up in the white power activist movement. Some of you may know I appeared on a podcast called Embrace the Void. If you want to see me talk at length about that experience, you can check out that episode. I will link to it in the description below. I was raised in the movement. My parents were white supremacists, moved us from Southern California to Idaho to be closer to Aryan nations when it was located in northern Idaho. And we, as kids, attended the Aryan Nations World Congress meetings. We saw the cross lightings, all of that stuff. If you want to hear me talk at length about it, you can go hear it on that episode. But now we're seeing that this cop, this retired Boise police captain, was actually actively involved with a white supremacist group. His name, Matthew Bringleson. Matthew Bringleson, a retired police captain who just retired, by the way, just retired in August after an almost 24-year career with the Boise Police Department while holding white supremacist views. I want to give a shout out to Molly Conger. Molly Conger reported on this in a Twitter thread. The Idaho Statesman gave Molly a shout out for bringing this to everyone's attention. Without that thread, who knows? So credit to Molly Conger for this. Matthew Bringleson has been writing blogs for the American Renaissance. American Renaissance describes itself from its website as America's foremost white advocacy publication. Now, if you're wondering what the hell that means, white advocacy to American Renaissance primarily consists of advocating against miscegenation, that is race mixing, that is Black people and white people procreating. They advocate against diversity. They try to ensure that everyone knows just how dangerous Black people are and just how superior white people are. These apparently are the values that former Boise police captain Matthew Bringleson wanted to prioritize. He has been writing blogs, like I said, for this publication. Now, because of the reporting Molly Conger has done and other subsequent publications have done, this website has started cleaning things up a little bit. So one of his blogs has been deleted. That was called My Career as a White Police Officer. Luckily, Molly got a screenshot of that article before it was deleted. I want to say that he was writing under a pseudonym, Daniel Vineyard. This is a character from American History X, a movie about neo-Nazis. So again, we have a cop, former Boise police captain, who is writing for a white supremacist organization, appearing with a white supremacist organization, using a neo-Nazi movie character to write his blogs about being a police officer. That's where we're at. His second blog, which is still up on the website, apparently he doesn't have a problem with this one remaining up. He entitled this one, Can a White Cop Be a Victim of Microaggressions? And I just want to read from this briefly to give you a flavor of the type of person that was employed with the Boise Police Department for over 2 decades. I was at a community meeting at a civic center with the Black lieutenant. Everyone there was tripping over himself to walk up to him, saying, because of his service stripes, "Whoa, you've been at it a while," and asking what type of gun he's carrying or how he likes the county. Mind you, I'm wearing the same uniform and have been a lieutenant 5 years longer than he has, and therefore have more service stripes, plainly visible on my sleeve. I could have been invisible. The media have succeeded in brainwashing the very people they need to control to maintain power. Weak-willed whites, dying for any opportunity to prove they aren't racist. If communities continue to vilify and hamstring their police, no white man will ever sign up for this job. The country will find out what a diverse police force really means. This blog has everything, including a lack of self-awareness of his own self-own. He's talking about weak-willed whites as he's whining about being invisible and not getting enough attention in a room full of people. Weak-willed. I mean, that seems weak-willed. He's upset he's not getting enough attention. Buddy, it's okay. You gotta ask. If you feel like you're not getting enough attention, maybe you should communicate your needs. That would be a good thing to do. He also has the fear tactics surrounding diversity, which these white supremacists love. They love fear tactics surrounding diversity. You'll find out what it really means when you finally get diversity. Ooh, scary. And no white man will ever be a cop again. Oh no! Oh my God, no white man will ever be a cop again? Hyperbolic much? But really, I'm trying to poke some fun at him, but this is not funny because this is an armed agent of the state that has arresting power. He can arrest citizens. He's a government official. He can arrest people. He can take their freedom away. He can charge them with crimes that follow them for the rest of their lives. And these are his beliefs. And we're just getting started, okay? Because it wasn't just the blogs. There was actually an hour-long video that he recorded. He was being interviewed by Jared Taylor. Jared Taylor's the white supremacist who runs the American Renaissance publication. He has a long history of white power activism and hateful racist statements. And together, Jared and the former Boise police captain, Matthew Brengelson, they talk about his career in policing and discuss his interactions with Black people.
So I often tell, when you and I have conversations, it's whatever the worst crime of the day is, it's usually either a Black person or somebody, a non-white. I mean, of course, white people do DUIs, they do domestic violence, they steal, but when it's something where you pause and go, holy cow, I can't believe that happened in this town, it's almost without exception, it's somebody that's not from there and it is a Black person. It's almost without fail.
So this 5%, these are the most disagreeable and repellent and potentially dangerous experiences for you.
Almost without exception, yes.
I understand that Blacks very frequently resist arrest and they accuse you of racism. Over and over and over you get this. Is it fair to say that at least a profoundly uncooperative attitude is something that you can count on, and that chances are you're going to get a violent resistance, and accused of racism? Is that pretty much what you can expect?
It's a script. That's what happens every single time, no matter what the case is. You can catch them just finishing beating someone, and during the subsequent resisting of arrest, the fight, we're called racist. It's during the actual event. We can catch them in the act, and the mere fact that we are catching them is racist. It's 100% of the time we're accused of being racist, especially in this town, obviously, because there's so few Black people there. But when we do encounter them, of course, it's going to be white officers because that's mostly what we have. And when they get arrested, they're going to scream racism every single time. I just saw an example of it last week. It's every single time that comes up, every single time.
Several notable things in that disgusting clip. Among them is I love to see him minimizing domestic violence. He's like, oh, listen, white people, they do DUIs, they do domestic violence, they steal, but the things that really make you pause and go, whoa, beating your romantic partner is not a thing that makes you pause and go, whoa. That's not one of those things that makes you surprised or upset. That's not serious. He says, whatever the worst crime of the day is, it is a Black person. And I mean, you heard him there. He's not really getting into details. So I'm kind of interested. Is he talking about mass shootings? Are those one of the worst crimes of the day? As cited here, the Violence Project data show white men disproportionately commit mass shootings more than any other group. So mass shootings predominantly committed by white men. Is that something that makes you pause and go, whoa? Former Boise Police Chief Captain Matthew Brengelson. What about rape? Are those crimes that make you go, whoa? According to data from the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, most perpetrators of rape are white. But I guess we're not gonna talk about those. So, former Boise police captain Matthew Brengelson, having been freed from his role with the Boise Police Department, is now making the rounds speaking at the 2022 American Renaissance Conference that just happened this past weekend, and he's appearing alongside other notable racists like Steve King and, of course, Jared Taylor. Here you see him continuing to use the name Daniel Vineyard to conceal his identity, promoting his talk, The Vilification of the Police, What It Means for America. He appears to be in his uniform in this photo, by the way, but check out these listings to the right. You have books that they are promoting right next to the former Boise police captain's face, and they include Tolkien, Europe and Tradition, From Civilization to the Dawn of Imagination, White Identity Politics, If We Do Nothing, Essays and Reviews from 25 Years of White Advocacy, A Dissident's Guide to Blacks and Africa, intro written by Jared Taylor, Send Us Crypto, because I guess they have their hand in all of the different types of grift, and White Date. White Date. So the allies of the Boise police captain, the former Boise police captain, laid right there for you to see next to his face. And if you need more evidence of how terrible this organization is, I mean, hopefully you're getting the idea here. American Renaissance has a blog that they posted just a few days ago entitled How My Niece Lost Her Eye. It's an anonymous account of a rape of a 14-year-old at the hands of a black man. And I want to read the final paragraph just so you can really understand the values of former Boise police captain Matthew Brengelson, given that he's connected to this organization. It reads, I used to work security at a mall, and we had a wall of shame photos of suspects in assaults, robberies, sexual assaults, theft, fraud, etc. that had happened there. At least 90% of them were black. And people wonder why cops, quote unquote, profile black teens. It's not racism. It's grasping reality. There, I had my say. Now you can hate me and call me whatever name you want. Well, we actually can't because, as I said already, it's anonymous. And it's always anonymous because these people are cowards who know that they should feel ashamed of their views. And that's why they hide their names. Like the former Boise police captain, Matthew Brengelson, who is still using a pseudonym rather than his name because he's afraid to put his strongly held views, apparently, right next to his name. He's ashamed of that. And it's always the same. It's always anonymous. It's anonymous sources citing these stories. They're all the same. They talk about how black people are inherently violent. They're inherently likely to commit crime. They don't ever talk about environmental factors of crime. They don't talk about the influence of poverty on crime. When it comes to white people, you hear former Boise police captain Matthew Brengelson talking about, you know, they just commit DUIs and domestic violence and theft. And he's not saying that they're inherently violent. He's not saying that they're inherently inclined to drink and drive, to beat their wives. But black people, that's what he believes, inherently likely to commit crime. No other explanation, no other factors. That is racism. That is disgusting. And I want to point out that Boise, the Boise Police Department, is 92.2% white, while the city is 88% white. So I want you to think about this. This former Boise police captain is walking around with these disgusting views that very obviously are going to inform the way that he interacts with the public. And it's 88% white. Most of the public is white, but not everybody. So who do you think he's going to be targeting when he's out on patrol? Who do you think he's going to be targeting in his interactions? As you heard in his own words, he watches one of his black coworkers get more attention than him, and he can't even stand that. He can't stand his coworker getting more attention than him. Imagine this man on the streets in a predominantly white city where there are few people of color. We have far more questions than answers at this point, and I want to know, how did this impact his policing? How did this impact who he targets? How did this impact the people that he held arresting power over as an armed agent of the state? What is going to be done about his cases? What about the people that he worked with, by the way? What about his allies in the Boise Police Department, his friends that he worked with for 24 years? What about those people who undoubtedly hold the same views? I am happy that the Boise mayor has announced that there's an investigation underway. It is a good start. She's asking for people with any additional information to contact her directly. If you have information, I would recommend that you do so. And listen, when you hear people say that the police do not keep people safe, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about rampant corruption, abuse, and racism that influence the way that police operate with the public. And you're hearing it from him directly in his blogs and his appearances and who he chooses to ally with. These are his values, and he undoubtedly took that to work with him. And listen, it remains to be seen whether exposing this racist former cop is going to prompt those who share similar beliefs in the ranks of the Boise Police Department, the other armed agents of the state. It remains to be seen whether they will be exposed and what will come of that. Only time will tell. But this is important to talk about. If anyone has any information on former Boise Police Captain Matthew Bringleson, I would highly recommend that you contact the information there in the tweet because it is important. And like I said, only time will tell where this goes. So I'd love to know what you think. I know this is a heavy topic. It's an important one. I thank you for sticking around with me. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please give me a call. Let me know what you think, 657-464-7609, or you can email at idoubitit@dollemore.com. We also have a Patreon page. I know those of you who are wanting to support the show but don't yet see the super chat, Patreon is an option. You can go to patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast and of course, check out the podcast that we do twice a week. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I will see you next time.